Welcome, everybody, to Nashville, Music City. We are here at the Phonak booth at the AAA conference, and we're going to have a good time. My name is DJ. I'm the host of this Facebook Live session, and we're surrounded by all sorts of angels, I call them. I wear hearing aids, so we're surrounded by all the people, audiologists, hearing aid dispensers, the people that allow me to hear. And we're also surrounded by Rose Bongiovanni and Christine Jones, two very important people from Phonak, and Erica Curry, a reporter from NBC.
Yeah, Fox 17 News here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Did I just name your competitor directly?
No,
Did I start awkward right away?
It's friendly competition. It's all right.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And, no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me here, you guys.
Thank you so much for coming. And we are here for the Let's Get Closer Facebook Live session. So anybody who's watching on Facebook, feel free to ask any questions. We're not going to answer them until the very end. We're going to talk a little bit first, but we will be taking note of them, and we will answer them at the very end of this session in about 20, 25 minutes maybe. So stay tuned, and we have lots of important information about the new Phonak Nighy B. The Nighy B, which I think we can all agree would be a great name for a rapper. Nighy B? No?
I agree.
But first, I think, Erica, you wanted to ask a few questions?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me here as part of this. I'm glad to be a part of it. And welcome to Nashville, everybody. It's an amazing city. I hope you're having fun. I came here 11 years ago, only planning to stay for 2, and I swear I won't leave now. I never want to leave. So I hope you guys enjoy your time here as well.
Sure.
Audiology, obviously, with seeing how many people are here, how many different companies, how many different varieties of products are out there. It's a huge topic that affects so many people. Pretty much everyone could be touched by some sort of hearing loss or impairment. So I think it's just really important to be able to get these messages out here, to be able to talk about this. And you have, DJ, your own personal experience with hearing loss. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I've been wearing hearing aids since I was 4 years old, and I am severe to profound. So without these hearing aids, I basically hear nothing, pretty much. People always ask, like, can you name a percentage?
Yeah.
I would say 0, maybe 10%, 20% if I had to name some random number. But I've always been able to kind of function relatively normal with the hearing aids. And I just got the new Nighy's a few days ago. So anybody who wears hearing aids knows it's a bit of an adjustment in the beginning, but I'm pretty taken aback. It's only been a few days, and the adjustment's going pretty well already. Yeah.
How would you say that it has been for you to be able to, obviously since you started at such a young age, you might not have had an adjustment to being able to use certain technologies, but what has it been like for you to be able to learn sounds and be able to speak yourself with this impairment?
I just don't know any other life, you know. My parents did a good job at a young age of making sure I felt normal and not different, but there were differences growing up. Like, my hearing aids weren't waterproof, and I played a lot of baseball. So whenever it started raining, I'd always have to stand in the outfield with my hands over my ears and try to pretend it was normal. I'd be like, yeah, I'm ready, guys.
Yeah.
Hockey, I grew up in Canada, so it's mandatory you play hockey up there. They kick you out if you don't. And
so I have to ask you, we've got the Preds hockey right now.
Yeah, the Predators, big win last night, 3 games to 1.
Huge,
yeah, I was watching that.
I hope you're a Preds fan, at least while you're here anyway.
I am. Philip Forsberg, man, I love Forsberg. So I'm not just saying that either. I actually love the Preds, so go Preds. Go Maple Leafs first and foremost, I got to say that.
All right, got to pay homage.
But I never really noticed a difference, but as I get older now and I perform comedy all over, a lot of people with hearing aids come up to me after shows, or parents where their kids have hearing aids, and talk about experiences that their kids are going through that I went through, that I just kind of normalized and didn't process it being that different.
Right.
And now seeing it through the lens of an adult, I realize how important it is to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you noticed that your hearing impairment has affected your career in any way, or did that maybe mold the way you wanted to go in your career?
Yeah, that's another thing. I never even thought, oh, this is crazy for me to get into comedy with hearing aids. It actually makes me heckle-proof.
Really?
Yeah, it really does.
That's right. Yeah, that makes
Rose,
sense.
try to heckle me right now.
I don't think she has a heckle bone in her body. I know, right?
Anybody want to heckle me? Anybody out there?
Hey, why don't we save it for a little later on in the show, because I'm sure we'll have plenty of material by then.
Yeah, but all I have to say is, oh, I didn't catch that, and I move on, and nobody wants to be the jerk in the audience who's heckling a deaf dude.
Pointing that out.
It's pretty sweet, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for starting this conversation and getting this show going. And you guys have a lot of important topics to talk about. And I will be bringing in questions from the audience as well for those of you who are the experts here who can answer questions for anyone watching out there.
Cool.
Thanks,
All
Erica.
right,
Thank you very much, Erica.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
See you soon.
All right. That was Erica Curry from Fox.
From Fox.
That's right. What an amateur move on my part. Okay, so yeah, I'm a comedian. I'm not very good at being serious, but I do actually feel a lot of serious emotions in this cold-weathered heart of mine when I come to something like this, because you do see how many people are being affected and how many people are helped by hearing technology. And I wear Phonaks. I've been wearing them for 10 or 12 years now. And you are both very important people at Phonak, right? You're the VP of Audiology. You're the VP of Strategy?
Strategic accounts.
Strategic Account.
Yes.
And Christine, what made Phonak get into helping people, adults with severe to profound hearing loss?
Yeah, so audiology, and in particular the severe to profound world, is really always been at the heart and soul of Phonak. And early on, I understood that people with severe to profound hearing loss have different challenges, unique challenges, and really need special solutions in order to be successful. And so the Nighy family has been a product that we designed from the ground up specifically to meet the needs of people with severe to profound hearing loss. And we continue to innovate with those specific needs in mind. And so that's really been the motivation for the Nighy to be and our work in Power in general, is to really customize it and tailor it to be the best possible solution for people who want the power.
And I am one of those people, so can you illuminate for the people who might not know, what are some of those things that people with severe to profound need?
So there are 3 different unique challenges that come with severe to profound hearing loss. One being a loss in high frequency audibility. So the consonants in speech. So very often you hear people say that they hear, but they're not understanding very well, because the consonants are such an essential part to understanding. And a lot of consonants have a lot of high frequency information in them. And if you have severe to profound hearing loss, those sounds can be really hard to hear. And so we have some special nonlinear frequency lowering technology that we call sound recover in these hearing aids to bring those sounds back into the range of hearing where you can hear well and understand speech much better.
Yeah.
A second issue is resolution, auditory resolution, that things are just not, even when they're louder, they're not necessarily clear enough. And so we have a new fitting formula in Nighy called APD Contrast, and that has been a huge success with our users. We have been fitting people since we launched this product just a couple of months ago, who are blown away when they hear this APD contrast for the first time, and the clarity that restores for them. And then third is a loss of understanding and noise. So that is always a big challenge with hearing loss of almost any degree. But with severe to profound hearing loss, that listening and noise becomes an extreme challenge. And so Phonak has always been a pioneer in the space of noise solutions, with both directional microphones, starting with audio zoom back in the 90s, and moving on through the Roger wireless technology that we have available today. And so we've implemented all of our most premium noise solutions, including adaptive stereo zoom or narrow directionality, so you can really focus in on somebody speaking in front of you with Nighy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I have the sound recover on my new Nighy's, and I've just had them like 3 days now, but I'm hearing like the consonants more than I ever have, but they sound like, I haven't heard them in so long, they almost sound like staticky. My brain has to get used to it, because it hadn't heard them, but it's like the S's, the ch, but I'm hearing them, I'm like, what the heck is that? It's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be hearing. And birds, I've heard birds I haven't heard in a while, but the sound recover, as Christine said, it brings like a higher frequency, which I don't hear. It transposes it into a lower frequency. So I'm hearing the bird, but it's like all the birds sound like Bane from Batman right now. Like they got like a deep, I'm like, okay, my brain needs to get adjusted to that. but at least I'm hearing them. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy
That's
that you're
exactly
actually
right.
able to do that.
You want a job in
I was
audiology
just
here at
gonna
Phonak,
ask.
DJ?
I think he needs to become part of the team.
Our newest clinical trainer.
There you go.
No, I'm just a dude trying to get adjusted to new hearing aids, but it's cool. It's cool that you're actually able to do that. And
Yeah.
speech and loud noise, I can't. I'm at the back of comedy clubs all the time, and comedians are always talking to me, and
Yeah.
everybody's whispering, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, if this is a secret, it's safe with me.
Yeah,
you know?
that is exactly the experience that we've had with this technology. We've had Sound Recover on the market for a few years now, but now we're in this latest generation of Sound Recover 2, which means we can give a little bit more aggressive settings to make those highs really come through, but still maintain the clarity and the naturalness of the vowels. And so that's kind of the latest iteration of the Sound Recover. And when we've got some specific tests for high frequency audibility, and we'll put somebody in the test booth and we'll test them without it, and we'll find that they have almost no access to those sounds. And then we'll turn it on and test them again. And it's not uncommon to see that those sounds are detected at like 75 or 80% in that very first trial. And as you mentioned, it can take a little while to really, adjust to that new sound and get used to it. But it's there, and that makes a big difference when it comes to both speech understanding, but then also listening and noise. The more you can access those sounds, the better it will be to decipher what you're trying to understand. So
It's really crazy. Like, as a guy who went from, I'm 32 years old, so I started with the analogs way back in the day, and then moved to digital, and that was probably the craziest transition I've had to make in my life, because sounds were being like modulated, and it wasn't just all coming in unfiltered. But then now to be at a point where I can hit one button and it changes the setting so I can hear people in loud noise, it's like, welcome to the future. I know that sounds like hyperbolic, but we're living in a crazy time now.
It's so true. And I think an important part to bring out is that it's not like having a person with mild to moderate hearing loss and just giving them more amplification, right? And then if you throw some noise into the equation, it can really make it even more challenging. So part of our technology blends in, and that's the APD contrast, because speech has a certain shape, right? And we call it the speech envelope. And the more that we can preserve that when someone's talking to you, even though there's, especially on the show floor, there's all kinds of noise going on around us, we still have to keep you comfortable, right? We don't want it to be uncomfortable for you, uncomfortably loud. And that's the beauty of the APD contrast. It's actually a new fitting formula that only comes along maybe once in a decade. We do new products twice a year. We do a new platform once every 2 years. But the whole idea of the fitting formula and helping to get that into your range of hearing is huge and doesn't come along much more than once a decade.
Yeah, it's actually pretty insane that I'm sitting, severe to profound, I'm sitting on this loud trade show floor and I'm talking to you guys, no problem at all. Like,
and you're not even faking it.
No, I'm not. Well, the hearing aids are fake. I got them for comedy, but I needed an angle, you know what I mean?
You needed something.
I want to be just another white guy, but is there anything else?
that's what everybody says.
Anything else about the history of Nighy you'd like to touch on?
Well, you talked about transitioning through digital, and Nighy has been on the market now for over 10 years. And in that time, we have seen 2.5 million people like yourself be fitted with Nighy and make that transition into the digital world of powered devices. And so over time, we've seen this become the most trusted power hearing aid on the market, as rated by hearing care professionals around the world. And so I think that amplifies what you've been describing in terms of your journey and how you've been able to take these innovations and really see a real life benefit behind them.
Great pun using amplifiers there, by the way. I don't know.
So she did there.
Yeah, that was real good.
Just keep them coming.
And what about the Nighy B? What's in store? We've talked a little bit about the technology, but is there anything more that makes the Nighy B so special?
Yeah, I think Christine really touched on the big three, right? Because a person, as you've said, with severe to profound hearing loss, I can hear you. maybe I can't hear you, but if I do hear you, I can't understand everything you're saying. And then you throw some noise in and all bets are off. So I think she really did a great job of outlining our three major technologies, right? Of the sound recover, of our APD contrast, and our binaural voice streaming, along with the fact that this all happens automatically with our processor, right? With our Autosense OS. So you're not like fumbling for buttons and things like that to get the best listening experience when you need it. That can't be underrated. You know, and then we also cover the basics, because it's also very important that the hearing aids are reliable. Like you were talking about the baseball situation in the rain, right? Well, first off, we have an IP68 rating, which is the highest rating in hearing aids right now. We can't say that they're waterproof, but they're certainly water resistant. So you would not have to be singled out and go elsewhere in the rain, right?
I walked home last night in the rain and I was fine.
And you were fine.
Yeah,
there you go.
Real world practical experience there.
Yeah. With severe to profound loss, because you do require a lot of amplification, that can result in feedback, right? Or that annoying whistle.
Yeah.
And you probably remember that in some of your older hearing aids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we take every step to make them feedback proof, right? So that isn't an issue, along with things like the robustness of the case, so that stuff, dirt and debris and things don't get involved, right? So those are some of the other things. And I think the other thing that I would bring out of this is that severe to profound hearing loss is very complex, right? And it is so important to have a trusted professional that can really look at the holistic picture, right? Not just your hearing, but how it impacts your lifestyle, you know, all those different things to make the proper recommendation and do the proper programming so you're hearing optimally. You know, so you can do things, for those of you that are out there listening, you can go to our website, phonak.com, and get a trusted provider that you can feel comfortable with to develop that relationship. So critical in the success of wearing hearing aids successfully.
Yeah.
Rose, go ahead, DJ.
No, go ahead.
Rose had mentioned, you know, a professional really looking at your listening needs. And I know one of the things that I've seen you whip out of your coat pocket there is a Roger pen.
Well, that's a nice natural segue.
And I was wondering what your thoughts were about kind of how that integrates with your life and stand-up comedy and the situations that you find yourself in.
Yeah, well, first of all, nice leather case for it as well, right? Fashionable and practical.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I use it all the time because my right ear is my bad ear. Like, my right ear, I mean, it sucks. But so when I'm driving in the car with my girlfriend, for example, she's on the right side of me. Normally, if we're driving, I can't really hear her at all. Unless we like move to Britain or something, then she'd be on my good side. But that's not worth moving to Britain for that. But so she'll put this on. She just clips it on, and then it talks, and it goes right into both of my hearing aids, so I can hear her perfectly the whole time, which is amazing. That's like, you know, on a 7-hour road trip or something. That's like a godsend to be able to hear her instead of just being silent the whole time.
She can talk to you for 7 hours in a row while you're in the car.
I get to listen to her for 7 hours.
This is every girl's dream. You know?
I actually have a lot of people who come up to me after shows and they're like, that must be so great to be able to turn off your hearing aid and not have to listen to your partner. I'm like, you know, you sound like you hate your wife right now, right?
It's all about controlling your environment, right?
Yeah. But no, it's amazing. This thing, not only that, like when I did a tour sponsored by Phonak in the fall, and we did a Q&A after every show, and we gave this to the students, and they were like 100 feet away from me. They could talk into this. I heard them perfectly. We could use it to spy on all the other vendors here right now. We can do whatever we want. So I don't know if Phonak wants me to say we can spy on everybody, but I'm telling you, let's go spy on some people.
Do I need to be checking under?
I know, right?
Underneath my tables?
So yeah, this Roger and the Comm Pilot as well, which I also am wearing, which I like wear all day long. I love this. I still got the sticker on it because this is a new one, and I'm that guy who doesn't take his sticker off his stuff.
Let me see your cell phone. Hi.
Yeah, my cell phone's a year old. I still got the sticker on it. I'm that loser. But yeah, this thing, listen to music on it, take cell phone calls. Telecoil's okay, but this is way better, right in my ears.
Yeah.
But it's funny when I'm walking down the street on the phone, and nobody can see I have Bluetooth or anything, so I just look like a weirdo talking to myself. So sometimes I hold the phone up, even though that's not what I'm talking on, just so people don't think I'm too weird.
The illusion of sanity. Yeah.
Exactly, the illusion of sanity. But yeah, I love the Roger pen and the Comm Pilot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in addition to the one that you use, there are a couple other Roger solutions too. We have this multi-mic technology that allows a mic, like a table mic, to sit and identify where the talker is coming from and move around in 360 degrees in order to stay focused in on whoever's talking around a table or at a restaurant, at a family dinner. So there's different solutions depending on kind of what your needs are and what kinds of situations you really want solutions for.
Automatically.
You have the TV one as well that you can hook right up to the front of the TV so you can hear it without having to turn up the volume and annoying everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy technology
Yeah, and
now.
then this little guy is new. We call it the Roger Select. And this can also be set on the table, and it automatically picks up the speech
Get that?
directionally. And you can also have a little lanyard or neck loop and put it around your neck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
automatically adjusts to the position, whether it's on the table or on your body, automatically adjusts to the optimal situation for hearing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have rechargeables now, too. What? Like the Nighy B is rechargeable?
Yes, yes. We, about a year ago, we introduced the rechargeable, but it wasn't available for severe to profound loss right off the bat. So we're really excited because with this launch of the Nighy B comes along the rechargeable version that is awesome. You can see the green light that shows that it's charging. Very small and elegant.
Mm-hmm. Very
and
elegant.
It will hold a charge. You can charge it, put it on the charger for 3 hours. It'll hold a charge all day.
Wow.
If you're traveling, you can use this little power pack on the bottom of the case.
Yeah?
Charge that up. It'll last for 7 days without charging.
7 days?
7 days. So if you need to go into the
How come my
wilderness.
cell phone goes dead in like 2 hours?
Right.
What technology do you guys have?
This is lithium-ion battery technology that's used across all of our rechargeable solutions, and that is the standard in high-end rechargeable.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The future, man. This is cool. For real, like 20 years ago, the hearing aids I had were just put them in and then like, off you go.
Yeah.
And now we got so much stuff that, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else about the Nighy B that we haven't touched on yet?
I don't know. Do we have questions from the audience?
Yeah, do we, should we get into the Q&A now, or don't want to go over time? Should we get into the Q&A? Okay, we're going to bring the wonderful Erica Curry back for a Q&A. Hey, Erica.
So, all right, thanks so much for all this information, first of all, but we do have a lot of questions and comments from people who may be watching out in the audience who would like to know a little bit more about what you're talking about. But first of all, I wanted to ask you, DJ, you mentioned earlier that when you were younger, you played baseball, and sometimes you would have to cover your implants because maybe weather events or rain would hit the hearing aids.
Yeah.
Tell me, did that set you apart? You know, did you feel like you had to struggle to overcome some sort of difference because you had hearing devices?
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
It clearly damaged your confidence.
Probably. Again, I didn't really think of it that way, and I probably owe all of that to my parents for instilling a positive attitude in me. I could have seen it going the other way if, you know, I had parents who maybe dwelled on it. I had 2 older sisters who didn't, you know, they took care of me. They were kind and positive. And I feel like that energy is what I try to exude even now as a kid. And now I feel like the same happened, where if you are positive about it, then other people don't really feel as compelled to make fun of it because they actually want to hang out with you and they don't see a reason to be negative. So I think it did impact my life. I mean, it definitely did. But I don't view it as a negative thing.
Yeah. Let me show you a question here from Facebook. Okay, we have Brooke asking, I love my Nighy Q90s, but they're over 4 years old. Is it worth looking into an upgrade? Who wants to answer that?
I think DJ should answer
You're
that.
the best. You're first. DJ, you're the man.
Just did it.
I mean, I feel like yes, but I don't know specifically what kind of rigmarole she's putting her hearing aids through. But 4 years would be around when I would start to feel like, even after I bring them in for a checkup or something, that they're still not like reaching the heights they used to. I'm not sure if that fits with standard Phonak policy or how long they're supposed to last. But 4 years, I feel like maybe it might be time to look at a new set. Yeah.
Let me ask, for Phonak, is it standard, or is there a standard time where you suggest people generally look into getting newer devices or upgrading?
Yeah, it's based on so many factors, and it really is ultimately the patient's decision. I know patients that replace their hearing aids every year. They want the latest and greatest, and it's no problem for them. So it really does depend on what your lifestyle is, how well you take care of them. The technology has definitely improved in a 4-year period. So if new technology and hearing better and having faster processing is important to you, it's definitely worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Would you like to say anything about that?
Sure. Rose is exactly right. And with the severe to profound population, we're always trying to study where we can further improve and where we can help communication be easier and more seamless and more automatic. In particular, with the Nighy Bees that DJ just got, there are a couple, I think, key enhancements that really differentiate it from previous generations. One being that Sound Recover 2 technology. That's that technology that allows us to bring the high frequencies back into audibility for people. And Sound Recover 2 does a unique job at being able to bring the high frequencies in and really maintain naturalness for everything else.
Yeah.
And then the APD contrast fitting formula that Rose talked about was another new innovation that has been implemented with the Nighy Bees that people have really been blown away by.
Let me check my list here, and don't go anywhere. We have a list here of questions for you. Okay, Sara asks for DJ. I'm a teacher of hard of hearing deaf. Any encouragement or tips you can share?
Sara, you said was her name?
Yes.
First of all, Sara, good on you for doing that. A wonderful choice of profession, and everyone I meet who's in that profession is just an amazing person. So
It's a calling.
Great to cyber meet you, Sara. And I guess my advice would be, sorry, I just touched my mic. I forgot I had it on. I guess my advice would be kind of related to what I said about how my parents treated it, in that, yeah, it's a difference, and it is a disability, undoubtedly. But if you treat all the students with respect, as I'm sure she does, and put a positive spin on it, and always look for ways to focus on the positive things, for example, the amazing technology that's available to us now, rather than the negatives that you might not hear as well in a loud situation, or whatever the case may be, then that's going to instill the kids with confidence and make them realize, because it's not just hearing disabilities, every kid has something that sets them apart that they're kind of scared to reveal to the world. Hearing aids are a little harder to hide, but that's actually kind of liberating because it's right there and you can be proud of it from the outset. So I guess that would be my advice to Sara, which I'm sure she's already doing, but really instill a positive attitude in the students and just watch them blossom from there.
Let me ask you, this is obviously another question for you, DJ. What is it like getting a new set of hearing aids?
I posted about it on Facebook a few days ago. It's like Christmas in April. Like, my old hearing aids were working just fine, but then you get a new set, and with the new technology that the Nighy Bees have, it's like a new toy, a new gadget that is also changing your life. It's not just a fun toy. It's life-changing, not to be too dramatic about it. But and I love my audiologist. Shout out to Danny Pino at Canadian Hearing Society. So when you have that relationship with your audiologist and they know exactly what you need and they get new technology that they know is going to benefit you, I mean, it's exciting when he's like, you're going to love this. You're like, woo, you know, you feel it.
Is it like hearing in HD?
It is. It really, no, things sound so much better. And it is an adjustment, like I said, but I can already tell that things are going to be a lot better with these hearing aids. And the sound recover, like I said, I heard birds chirping that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I haven't heard those birds before, or at least in a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Anybody with hearing loss knows when you get a new set of hearing aids, it's like...
Yeah. So that's something I've never thought of before, since I've never used hearing aids, is hearing aids over time may need replacement. They may kind of, I don't want to say dull, but they may not be as vivid of a sound as what you would hear if you get a new set, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think it's that, and I think it's the advancement in technology.
Okay.
You know, we couldn't do that a few years ago, is get those S's and SHs, especially for this population, because they have no nothing, right? No matter how loud you make it, they'll never hear it.
Yeah.
So that's why we move it to a different part, a different frequency, so that there's a possibility of him hearing it.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's go to another question here. Okay, how does Nighy help with background noise? This is for Christina or Rose?
Sure. So there's a couple different ways that really attempted to ensure that people can communicate in all the environments that they find themselves in. So there's some microphone technology that we use to create a narrow beam. We call it adaptive stereo zoom. And that, when noise is detected, it automatically turns on, and it really helps you to focus in on what you want to hear and suppress all of that competition so that you can stay engaged. You can be in a coffee shop chit-chatting, and even as the noise, rises and the milk frother starts going, you're totally locked in with what you want to hear. All of that happens automatically with our operating system, Autosense OS, and I think that's one of the key innovations behind all of this, is DJ doesn't want to sit here and be manipulating the hearing aids nonstop to try to get to a place where he can hear. Well, he just wants to sit here and hear.
Right.
And that's what Autosense OS does really well, is the hearing aid in the background is always listening, it's always analyzing the environment, and then makes all of these adaptations automatically to optimize how you hear and what you hear in every different situation.
And since we're on the topic, I'm told you have a pen that sort of helps boost your hearing, almost like a microphone would. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was actually talking about it earlier. So basically, rather than talking, talk is cheap.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
I'm turning it on right now, and it's going to pair with my comm pilot.
Yeah.
And, it's happening. A woman talking in my ear telling me it's pairing. She's my best friend. And now it is, Erica, if you want, can hold that mic up. You can walk away from me, and I'll still hear you talking.
Oh,
Give a hand to hold it, and you can.
All right. I'm going to just turn my back here so we're still on camera. Okay.
I hear you perfectly.
Can you hear what I'm saying?
I hear what you're
counting to
saying.
10. What am I doing?
I can't.
I'm counting to 10.
I didn't hear that part.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Are
8.
you just counting right
I
now?
am.
Okay, I was trying to piece that together. Okay, you're just
Can you hear
counting.
what I'm doing? I'm counting to
Yeah, and
I thought you were going to heckle him.
No, I don't know if I can do that. I don't have a heckle bone in my body either.
I don't either.
by the way, if you were turned around like that without the pen, I wouldn't have heard a word you were saying.
Oh,
Because your voice would have been going that way.
Well, and it's
so.
just so loud in here. Guys, me sitting just right over here, just at a camera shot, I couldn't hear a word you guys were saying.
So this thing's amazing. Another thing I'll mention about the, what's that OR thing called you said?
Autosense OS, the
Autosense
operating
OS,
system.
sorry, yeah. So when I was in my audiologist's office earlier this week, they could adjust it from slow to fast. So you could have that happen in slow or fast, which is another cool feature. So if it's a bit too much for you when it's changing based on the noise and it's going too fast, you can make it so it goes slower. So if the adjustment happened, it happened at a slower rate. So if you're used to an older hearing aid that doesn't adjust as quickly, like I was before my last set, then you can ease into it a bit with
more
a slower
gradual.
setting. So that's another cool part about it.
Great. I have another question from Facebook. Do you miss being on tour with Phonak?
Do I miss being on? I'm kind of on tour with Phonak.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Kind of. But
this
yeah,
is
that
definitely
college tour, the Hear to Hear tour, we did 20 schools in 30 days. We filmed every day. You can find that still on YouTube, the Hear to Hear tour. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. We drove around the country in a big old bus and met so many students, had an ASL interpreter at every show, descriptive captioning. It was an experience I'll never forget. So maybe we'll get to do it again someday.
Yeah, that would be really cool, and that sounds awesome. How many kids were you able to talk to altogether?
Oh, I mean, we did 20 colleges, and we did like a lot of Facebook Live things.
Yeah,
so I mean,
thousands.
I don't know the number, but I'd say I'm going to throw 100,000 out there and see if that sticks. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, see if anyone bucks that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. What do you see next for hearing aids for either Christine or Rose?
I think the future of hearing aids will bring an even greater increase in the interoperability that we've already starting to see. So, DJ talks on his cell phone. He's got the comm pilot connected where he can stream television. And this notion that hearing aids can be a connection point to all the various technologies in your life, I think will continue to expand. And with that interoperability and that connection to mobile devices, it also offers new opportunities for hearing aid users to connect with professionals and do that in a more tailored and personalized way where DJ could be sitting here and in touch with his audiologist who says, I'm having a little trouble hearing this and that, and they can do some fine tuning on the spot and really customize how the hearing aids are performing in his real life environments. So
Wow.
I think all of the connectivity that we're seeing in the world and the digital transformation that is really impacting every industry is going to continue to transform both hearing aids and how the professionals and hearing aid users kind of connect and interact in general.
Kind of sounds like a Bluetooth on steroids, you know?
I mean, I got Bluetooth right in here. I could be listening to music right now, and you guys wouldn't even know it. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Garth Brooks during this whole thing, so yeah, I've been a little
funny.
distracted.
We've got another question as well. What is your favorite part of being in the hearing healthcare industry for Christina Rose?
Yeah, I've been in it a long time.
Have
And
you?
It's the only business I've ever been in, out of the clinic into the world of manufacturing. And for me, it's very personal because a lot of my family members have had and have hearing loss. From my grandparents, my father, my brother had a unilateral hearing loss. So it connects people to people, not to things. And I'm a people person, so the more that we can help people hear, and I know I don't want to sound corny, but I really believe we change people's lives, and that's everything.
Well, that's evidenced here.
That's everything.
Yeah, and you answered one of my questions too, is what got you into the industry?
That's
what
it.
got you into the industry, Christine?
So I also have personal experience with hearing loss. I grew up with an uncle who was born with severe to profound hearing loss, well, from 3 months of age anyway. And so I grew up really seeing how hearing loss impacts families. And I am in a lot of research in audiology, and I really like seeing how that research and that evidence can translate into real life benefits for people and remove limits from people's lives that they might have experienced without some of the technologies. So
Yeah. And I got another question passed to me. They keep coming. So are you ready for another one?
Ready.
Okay, so this one is for anyone from Candace. Candace is asking, how do you think we can inspire more people to care for and get help with their hearing?
I would think a big thing is to let everybody know how many people it affects. I think a lot of people are unaware that, I don't know the exact stat, you might be able to illuminate me on that, but there's so many people. You mentioned it's in your family. You grew up with somebody. My mom has hearing loss. My grandpa had hearing loss. So many people have it. So I think when people realize how close to home it actually is and how many people they know personally are affected by it, that naturally creates a more, a deeper connection to the issue. So I think that's the first step.
Yeah. Definitely. Would you like to
Yeah.
add to that, Christine?
Well, about 15% of Americans have some degree of hearing loss. And so it is a widespread condition. And it should not be unusual that somebody would go out and check their hearing every year the way we would check our vision and other aspects of health and wellness to keep on top of it, now that there are so many solutions available for anybody who's struggling with any degree of hearing loss.
Yeah, and I would add to that, if you are wearing devices and you love your devices, and you said it with your confidence, when you were asking about, do you feel singled out?
Yeah.
He has you were such a positive role model, because so many people with hearing impairment that wear hearing aids want to hide it. And I think that's one of the most inspirational things a person that wears devices can do, is not be afraid to talk about them, to share their experience.
Yeah.
That is the single greatest thing that a person can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably pretty safe to say that most people do struggle with some sort of hearing loss, but may not even be familiar with it or may not recognize it.
Yes.
So how do you know when it's time to start getting help or aids for your hearing?
Yeah. I can hear you, but I can't
Yeah.
understand you.
Okay.
And it's not because other people are mumbling, although many people will feel that way. If you think you're having a problem hearing, go get a test. Go have a screening just to see if there is something there organically. What would you add to that?
Yeah, and also listening and noise tends to be one of the
Yes.
first complaints. People come in and they say, gosh, when I'm out at a restaurant, I'm really struggling. So either, as Rose said, everybody in your life has started to mumble, or maybe check it out and see how you're doing with your hearing.
So those are the symptoms basically to look for then, are mumbling, or maybe if you're just hearing a lot of noise but nothing in particular coming out of it.
Turning the TV up louder.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Another
a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we all have grandparents who have been guilty of doing that, right?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say to Rose's point earlier that the confidence I have talking about hearing aids and everything, that kind of came the deeper I got into stand-up. I didn't talk about them at all when I was young. I don't want to say I was ashamed of them, but there must have been some element of shame because I didn't talk about them.
Yeah.
Even the jokes I made or anything, they were never related to my hearing.
Yeah.
And then only after I got into comedy and realized how weird it would be for me to be on stage for an hour and not mention them, that
Yeah.
I started to talk about it. And that actually gave me, it was like a snowball effect, it gave me more confidence to
platform,
talk
yeah.
about them. So
Yeah.
that confidence didn't really come overnight regarding my hearing aids. So yeah, I would just say to anybody out there watching who has hearing aids, it's not natural to just be like, check out my hearing aids, unless you're super confident right out of the womb. I don't know, but that wasn't me. But I would say, like, don't be afraid to, you don't have to make your whole identity about your hearing aids, but don't be afraid to talk about them and let your friends know what you need from them. Like when your back was turned and I said I wouldn't have been able to hear you, when I was younger, I might not have told a friend when they were turned around, but now I'll be like, hey, I can't hear you, you're looking the wrong way. And if they're your real friends, they'll respect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that confidence is important, and also surrounding yourself with people who respect that.
Let me ask you this, too. When it comes to hearing aids, are hearing aids a one-size-fits-all type thing, or are there different kinds or models that would fit for different people and their levels of hearing?
Yeah. Do you want to?
We have a portfolio of products in order to be very specific and customized to the specific needs and the degree or type of hearing loss that an individual has. So DJ wearing the Nighy is a specific family of products that's designed around the use for people with severe to profound hearing loss. But we have another family called Sky that's specific to pediatrics, and it has an operating system that's been tailored exactly to the needs and the listening situations that children very often find themselves in. And then we've got a family of hearing aids more for mainstream, middle of the road degrees of hearing loss. So they are very tailored to exactly both your needs, the style. There are some that fit deeply in the ear that are customized to the shape and size of your ear canal for people who want something that is totally hidden down in their ear versus some of the ones that you see here that are worn on the back of the ear. So there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and I've noticed over time, too, that hearing aids really aren't as bulky and big as they used to be. I mean, you wouldn't really notice hearing aids and a lot of people wearing them now.
Yeah, you see the little tiny ones all the time?
Yep.
Yeah. I just saw a guy in the airplane in here a couple days ago, and he had the tiny ones on. And I walked by him, and he saw mine, and we locked eyes, and we gave each other yeah. But, yeah, they're so tiny. Mine are still a little bigger, but even these, I feel like 10, 20 years ago would have been way bigger than they are now. So,
Yeah.
they're sleek.
Definitely.
They're sexy, even, I would go so far
Yeah,
as
there
to
you
say.
go. Let me check and see if we have any more questions, but it looks like now we're going to try to wrap it up because we've been talking about hearing aids and Phonak and all the benefits that you have received personally from this product. Is there anything left that you guys would like to say before we close out?
I would just like to say, first of all, thank you, Erica, for coming and
glad to
shining
be
a light
here.
on this.
Yeah.
And Christine and Rose, thank you for all you do and the important work you do at Phonak. And
Thank you.
it's been a pleasure for me to be here with you today.
And let me say, too, since I work for the news here in Nashville, you guys will be on the news tonight, and a little bit of the show will be as well. So Fox 17 News at 5:30 tonight, and you'll see all your faces again, okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Erica.
Hope to educate the mass audience in Nashville.
We appreciate that.
Thank
you.
Thank you. And to everybody watching on Facebook Live, thank you so much for tuning in today. And one more time, this is Rose Bongiovanni, and she's the VP of Strategic Accounts at Phonak. Christine Jones, VP of Audiology at Phonak. My name's DJ Demers, stand-up comedian, passionate hearing aid wearer. And thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Live from Nashville at the AAA conference. Take care.
Bye.